playoffs and really the entire regular season, I believe it's going to take a win tonight. When you look at the names of these 4 drivers, their success rate, the speed that they've had at all the different variety of racetracks, I think if a driver wants to feel they're going to be a champion, they better expect
this Ryko qual is awful.
Take a win to be crowned champion.
And there's 2 big battles going on tonight. Primarily the battle for the championship, but for everybody else, the battle to stay in this series. Relegation will be determined this afternoon. All the names in blue could either go up or go down.
They won't turn for me.
The top 20 drivers will lock into this championship for 2022. 21st on the back. We'll have to go through that contender series, Steve, that was talked about in Countdown to Green. Such a unique thing about this eNASCAR championship, and that's kind of the fight inside the fight.
I wish Cup had relegation.
That's what makes this series so strong, because no one's safe. And at the beginning of the year,
that'd take care of shit like Rick Ware.
Who would be out? Who would make the championship 4? Who would avoid relegation? I think you would struggle to do that. We have some big names in blue. We even have some big names that aren't in blue, but they're below the line. They're going to be removed, and they know it. They know they're not moving on. So you don't have to look any farther than Ray Alfala right there in 22nd. Hard to believe that name is below the red line, but he is, and he's going to have a good night tonight to guarantee a seat back in this series next year.
Yeah, by my count, 3 past champions in that bubble fight tonight. We'll be monitoring that as well. But we are ready to go racing for the 18th and final time here in 2021. So let's hand things off to tonight's Grand Marshal, a past Coke Series winner and iRacing Executive Director Dale Earnhardt Jr. for the most famous words in motorsports.
An 18-race season comes down to this: 4 drivers going for $100,000. Are you ready? Gentlemen, start your engines!
That's seriously just dirt tracks turn 1 with the VRS set.
It's time for the finale. 8 months, 17 races, countless hours.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. with the command. That was pretty cool.
Come down to this: 4 drivers, 167 laps, in 1 shot.
What race you all doing?
We're
the Coke race.
Coke race. It's the finale.
$100,000.
Oh, I got you.
All 4 of these drivers have never won an eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series championship before, but that all changes.
Kyle, you remember what your poll time was?
In the heart of Texas.
29003.
Okay, I just did a 191 with VRS.
Championship 4. The only driver
but
who has tasted glory at
the Ryko just won't turn. It's a tight as fuck.
Champion is looking to stake his claim as one of the best drivers on the service by taking home the
I think you just like a tighter car than I do.
Season of eNASCAR competition. Hailing from Temecula, California, representing 1/2 of.
So I'm gonna pick Coanda driver to win.
It is Mitchell DeYoung.
Is that the only one with 2 in?
They actually have 3.
Oh, that's cheating.
So
in tonight's
what's his name?
They're really going on a limb,
Bobby
dude.
Lewinsky and Mitchell DeYoung are all on the same Coanda Sim Sport.
Second place. He's trying to replace that silver with gold here in Texas in 2021. Driving the number 32
Logan Clampett, who's the 4th.
The other half of 2311 Racing.
He's on his own.
I'm pulling off. I can't keep this thing under.
Yeah, it's way too loose, isn't it?
Well, I'm using a loose one. Yeah, it's way too loose. Even 42 laps in.
Over the last 4 seasons, his
you can't even put any gas to it.
3.5. Suffering a heartbreaker last year, he's looking to prove to everybody that he deserves
from 3rd to
the top
19th.
step of that podium tonight. In the number 83 Letarte Esports Chevrolet from Fresno, California, Bobby Zalenski. Another 5-year eNASCAR veteran
again.
Very strong season and even
I like
better
Bobby.
showing in the playoffs. With an average finish of 4th over the past 3 races, he's looking to convert the best season of his career into his ultimate victory. in the number 97 William Byron Esports Chevrolet from the heart of
Love
NASCAR
that paint job
country
he's got.
in Concord, North Carolina, it is Logan Clampett.
I think I'm a little ahead of you guys on the lead.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're not all matching on the stream.
Yeah.
Everybody hit reload.
Knows what the stakes are tonight. 100 car championship and eternal glory in the sim racing world. Will it be DeYoung, Leahy, Zelensky, or Clampett? Ring the bell, because it is a four-way fight to see who will become your eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion.
Yeah, I was probably behind or something, but it said it was live.
Yeah, but anything kind of causes it to hiccup and you get just a little behind.
Yeah. I think I'm ahead because my internet's so good.
Counterpart and teammate Keegan
Said
Leahy
Brian
Like that
never.
luscious head of hair?
in second. Then a lot of big heavy hitters, but non-playoff drivers on row number 2 as Ryan Lewis joins Casey Kerwin, Nathan Lyon ahead of a past series champion Michael Conti, Steve in P6.
Yeah, Vicente Salas will be inside row 4. Graham Bolin on the outside, row 4. Looking back at row 5, Bobby Zelensky, another one of the championship 4, will be inside row 5 next to
Zelensky's
Steve
in row
Wilson
5.
on the outside, and then looking at row 6, Dylan Duvall and Kane.
Clampett's in the back.
Yeah, this is in the midfield portion. You'll find Bob Bryant alongside.
Sure he didn't plan it that way.
Michael Hassett about
Seen him yet.
will be alongside one another ahead of Ashton Crowder and Taylor Hurst. You got Malik Ray, longtime series veteran Brad Davies.
Mitchell
well
and Keegan Leahy, they share qualifying setups, don't they? And race setups, try too.
Yeah, all three of them actually.
Row 11. Traffic is going to come into play
Okay.
here at Texas. It's very, very tight racing. Ray Alfalo, we mentioned, trying to avoid relegation. Garrett Maines will be in row 12. Femi Olat and John Gorlinski make up row 13.
Have we got any interaction?
Yeah, way back in traffic. You talk about how it's going to be a bit of a sketchy start for these drivers with Lowe as well. Doucette and Bose through your top 30. But this is the big storyline, I think. Row number 16, Logan Clampett.
Freaking Logan
in the
Clampett,
97
row
is
16.
starting this race from a 31st position.
That's rough.
He has the lowest average starting spot on the intermediates in
Yeah, that's
2021
I'm sure he
against his
didn't want to start back there.
counterparts, and he is way off the mark.
Yeah, I
tonight.
mean, you got
Yeah, and your concern is
DeYoung
how
and
lucky can you get if you
Clampett
Sheeran
on the
or
front
Mullis
row.
in 17, you know,
Hey, Mike,
while the starting position doesn't
welcome,
dictate
Will.
where you're going to finish, it just is such an
Hey,
uphill
Will,
battle, and if
thanks for the
someone else
idea.
makes a mess early, you're going to get caught up in it.
And on the back row, you see Justice and Matheson that rounds through
Thanks, Will.
your 40-car grid. So we talk about the qualifying struggles for
Do you want to set up an open
Mr.
discussion on
DeYoung
Discord?
has been the opposite. He has qualified in the
Dude,
top 3
I got
for
this, the other
every
chat's
single
going. I don't know what's
mile
on
and a
your
half
Discord.
race this season, Steve, and he is on pole tonight.
Don't we have the
Texas.
lounge? Isn't
You're
that
dialed
open?
up with the driver, the 23.
To everybody?
Rachel, I feel like you and I have become first name basis with your unbelievable
At-
qualifying this year.
at the lounge is- or hashtag the lounge is open.
18 races or 17 races in.
Be
This
right
is
back.
the final one with the championship on the line. Where's the confidence? Where are the nerves?
Yeah, I mean, that's a cool stat. I didn't know about that, actually. But to be honest, I'm having fun.
I'm monitoring the
I think this is the
twit
least nervous I've
to
ever
get
been. I'm just
notes
really
for the
excited
show.
to just, get going here. I felt really good about qualifying, but I was just a little bit nervous going into it. But everything's gone to plan. It's really nice to have Keegan up here with me, my 2311 teammate. So,
I'm excited to do this.
part of the job is done, and now I think the really tough part is about to begin. So hopefully we can keep it
Thanks,
together,
Will.
and
Yeah,
maybe
we
we could be,
appreciate,
a
you still
little
tuning
bit
in,
richer
even
at
though
the end of
you're
this
not
race.
able to be
Well, you lead me to my second question, and that is your teammate on the outside. Your teammates, but you're competing for one championship. I know you want to bring it in to the 2311 banner, but I'm sure you would rather be the champion over Keegan. At what point
Ooh, my order is
do teammates
shipped.
go out the window and you have to race for yourself?
I'm just returning my sliders. I don't want to mess with drilling holes in my chair and all that.
Mutually agreed that we're all out to.
It's really nice to have a sliding seat.
Ideally, we don't crash into each other. As long as we don't break that rule, then
I would definitely
think
use it
everything
to
else is
slide
up for
back
grabs.
and get out
hopefully we have
in
a great
comfort.
race. Ideally, we just kind of run around here the whole time and we can battle it out. But I think you guys will see it's going to be really crazy in these.
So
opening
I
laps.
ordered a phone holder
Yeah,
for my
hopefully we
rig.
can, hold our track position here.
Well, it's
called
been
the
a great season regardless
Enduro
of
Series
tonight.
T-slot track
Congratulations
ready
on that.
phone
Good
mount
luck on the next
with a
167
short reach
laps.
arm.
Thank you, appreciate it.
So that is the words from your pole sitter, and this is just the third different racetrack, Steve, that will host the eNASCAR Championship. Charlotte hosted
This
it back in 2010, but it has been Homestead Miami from 2011 through last year.
It's going up to the wall.
Texas makes its championship debut. Walk us through it with a look at iRacers race analysis.
167 laps, 250
So I'm curious how
about 20, 23 seconds
far off we are timing-wise. So when the green comes out on my screen, I'm going to say green. And Brian, I want you to say the same thing and see how different it is.
Always interesting how they do that, right?
Yeah, there'll also be a delay when you hear us say green.
76 degrees.
That's why we truncate silence, because that delay creates a lag.
And again, working on the long run going to be, I think, the key tonight. Let's welcome in the third member of our broadcast team, Tim Terry, joining us from the pit lane. Tim, what you got for us?
And Steve hit the nail on the head there, Evan. A lot of these teams already talking about fuel and trying to stretch it on the fuel mileage here this evening. The one other thing that I've been hearing from these teams is trying to track this track temperature and track this ambient temperature. It's been dropping since practice. These guys are playing with tape. We may see a couple of these drivers gamble, and we might see a couple overheat, not only in these race cars, but on the racetrack.
Looking forward to that all night long. We'll be checking in with you over the course of tonight's 250-mile race. Well,
right here, iRacers driving world.
Drivers in the championship is a past iRacing world champion in rallycross, but the other three, Clampett, Leahy, and Zelensky.
So they're talking about they're just now talking about
NASCAR championship fight in the past.
Just finishing second.
Wants to change that here tonight, and none of those four
sounds right.
have ever won.
Showing them centered on the one car now.
NASCAR going to dive down to the safety of the
six
pit
car.
lane. It is Mitchell DeYoung's field to control.
Green.
For one last time in 2021, we say let's go
Green.
Championship racing at
Line.
Texas. Green flag in the air.
I was a little late.
That's it.
Turn number one.
Actually, I was actually a little earlier than when I said it.
For the first time as we wind them up to speed.
Say green when they went, or when it actually went green? Because they went. They went. Okay.
The path we talk about Texas, it's very different from one end to the other. This, the higher banked end, much more grip, much higher speeds in the middle of the corner, almost wide open throttle, versus now the turns 1 and 2 end of the racetrack. Much flatter, handling much more important.
A couple of drivers nearly in the grass on the opening lap of this race. DeYoung leads lap number 1. You'll notice the color coding. You see Bobby Zelensky in red at the top of your screen. The drivers in red are your championship 4 drivers. You'll also see them at the top as we monitor their position over the course of the race. The drivers in blue are the relegation drivers, and you can take a live look in at
I like that they have all this live scoring here as we go around on the left side for that top 20.
Who's in, who's
Yeah, I remember Drew Adamson telling us about that on the show, that they really planned on using that for the playoffs.
I think they need to relegate in NASCAR.
Got some work to do with the mid-pack. You see Alfala and some others. You talk about this mid-pack area, Steve. You talk about luck, right, with Clampett.
Like if you don't do so well in the Cup Series, you get relegated to Xfinity.
Or at least the top, or like the top 4 automatically lose their charter.
I wonder if something like that's going to happen with all the charters that are trying to be acquired right now that can't.
You see, to the bottom of the racetrack, he's going to make it a pretty aggressive.
It sounds like Rick Ware to stay alive right now. They got
quickly. It all worked out, but those are the types of moves
they're
you're going to
with
have
Stuart
to make.
Haas Racing now just to stay or survive, right?
Every move is that
they switched to Ford.
Yeah, and they were running a Stuart Haas car at the test this weekend.
Originally at a Trabuco Canyon, California, the 97 car
Monday,
line.
Tuesday.
I mentioned he had the worst average starting spot of all these champions.
So Clampett has a lot of friends out there.
You may be thinking, well, wait a minute.
Team Conti has an alliance with that other team, and I think Dead Zone is working with him too.
On these intermediates, it's just that they are not.
I like this collection of cars in the background there. Is that another rig there in the background too?
Yeah, Mike Conti.
Oh, that'll be Conti. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That might be Conti's collection.
So he is making up positions early. But I mean, how about Mitchell DeYoung, Steve? I mentioned that qualifying.
I think isn't it Logan's house and just stays with him?
Second at Kansas, second in Charlotte.
No, I think it's the other way around.
This man is
I think it's cool that
tracks like this.
Well, and Mitchell DeYoung may be new
Mitchell
to the
DeYoung
series, but
is
he's not
another
new
one
to
running a
iRacing
road
and
rim
esports
for
in general.
ovals.
When he entered this series, there was a lot of conversation in the ownership level, a lot between myself and Denny Hamlin on who.
No, I think Clampett was from California, and he just moved to Carolina.
Yeah, he packed everything up last year.
That's what I said.
But it's been impressive.
That's what I said.
Okay, it was delayed.
This
It was
man,
the
Keegan
internet.
Leahy, who has consistently, year in and year out, proven his worth behind the wheel, always finds a way to end up near the front.
I have a nephew who looks just like Leahy.
Halifax, Nova Scotia was second in 2019.
I'm kind of
We all remember
partial
that
to Keegan
thrilling
Leahy
finish
since
at
he's
Homestead
Canadian.
between he and Zach Novak. And then, of course,
Eh.
Bobby Zelensky, who was able to lock
Is that the
himself
same as
into
Nova
this race
Scotia?
earlier than anybody else. Your Latardi sports driver, Steve, got the win at Darlington.
Will
He
just
didn't need a
posted
prep
in the
for Bristol.
chat
He
that
didn't need a prep
Clampett
for
came to North
Talladega.
Carolina.
He has known
Conti
the
was
objective
there
for the better
first.
part of a
So
month
yes,
now.
that was correct.
And finds himself in the top 10. Pretty good early when you look at what Zelensky has done.
So can Mitchell win this as a rookie? I mean, that would be something amazing.
Inside of the top 15, a 12th in Vegas, and a
Did we ever?
14th at
Did we
Atlanta.
have that in
And
any
all
of the
other
predictions
three
like
were
that he was going to
outside
have
of the
this
top
type of
30,
season at the beginning of the
seems to
season?
be feast or famine for Zelensky
Well,
in these intermediate.
I don't remember talking about him.
I just thought knew he'd be a reckon with on the road courses, and then what did he have? Didn't he win California?
That is a great combination. He's so good.
Yeah, he won an oval, but you're right. I think we were just thinking he would win on road courses, but
that was the driver we had circled to bring it on board.
I mean, he's a rallycross championship from 2019.
He's got a championship, and if he gets one in this series, that's almost all. He just needs a dirt oval.
That's pretty cool that, you know, they have cross championships.
Second in 2017, but Bobby Zelensky finished second.
Well, he never won the Hoyer championship, the Porsche one. I don't think, right?
No, but he participated in that.
But he won. Didn't Mitchell DeYoung win in the Grand Prix World Championship?
Obviously, the pink representation.
What the one with the?
Was it before the Grand Prix cars went away?
With the American Cancer Society as part of
no, he was in it when it was the Porsche Esport Super Cup.
Okay. I thought he
Not
was.
this year, but last year, right?
Okay.
To date to support breast cancer
And like Brian said, finished second. So yeah, I mean, he's pretty dang worthy.
Well, you could make your post on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok. And use the
You know, he lives in that house with the purple carpet. I mean, you better be freaking good if you live in the freaking sim house. That's your full-time job, you know.
Up to $110,000.
I really like that paint job that they're showing on here for
Instagram post and
Shearburn.
TikTok post using that hashtag, and General Motors will match donations made to the American Cancer Society.
Well, I can't get Ryko to go any faster than VRS.
$10,000. You can do this on TikTok using the donation.
No, I moved the ballast until it was about even, and it runs about the same.
It's a great program, and you'll see a couple of different cars. And
I remember what you're saying about sets on chat. You're live.
Awareness Month. Of course, this is the last
David Hall,
race
Ballast
of the
King.
championship. But as you heard on Countdown to Green, it's the start of another battle, right? For drivers who are going to want to race their way back in.
If
next
David
year
could,
and
he'd
more.
start
So
putting
keep
weight
up
on
to
the
date
front
with
of his
everything
rig.
on the off season, from the schedule, the standings, and how to qualify for the Series 1 day.
Moving it around.
If the gym's closed, I just use my rig for deadlifts.
/eNASCAR, and if you want to get in on the fun with iRacing, where every day is race day, you can start your iRacing career by logging on
Man,
to
like
iRacing.com
the pictures you're showing
today.
about your
We're
rig,
taking
man, it
a look
looks
at
so
Corey
nice.
Vincent. Let's hop behind the wheel at virtual Texas Motor Speedway with our Coca-Cola onboard camera.
So Logan Clampett's up to P21, 10 spots.
So what do you think at this pace? Do you think he's in the top 10 by before lap 50?
Well, by first stops, it would be the place to judge, you know. No, he'll probably get to 15th, I think.
Do you ever think that at some point, if you're looking on this in-car here, do you ever think we'll get to have these controls where we get the fan controls for the beads on the tires to try and cool them? If we could ever get that into iRacing?
That'd be cool. If they're in the new car, we should get them. This guy, Corey Vincent's a player, man. He's got that Team Dillon banner behind him. That's pretty cool.
I like this setup.
My sense of sound is getting confused by the race sound and my sound. I can't tell what my car's doing.
It's almost like you should have done the live stream and not doing the practicing.
Riding on board with Corey Vincent, Team Dillon Esports.
Well, my name's not Mike.
And I love the patience behind the wheel. You'll notice as he goes down into the corner, he works a little bit lower than the car in front of him.
Mike, I got an email about his the new seat from Max Pappas. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, they finally released it officially.
Oh. What time? How much is it?
It's like $950.
Oh, see, I'm so glad now that I would have kicked myself if I would have paid that much for that stupid seat.
Steven, if you're talking about turning up TeamSpeak, you can actually turn that up in well, you're not talking about TeamSpeak. You must be on the stream. Then, Greg, if that's the case, you need to turn the stream sound down.
I wonder if it's because I put my mic above my monitor to try and watch the race. It's a little bit way further away than it normally was.
Well, I can hear you.
I turned it up a bit, but I only had a little bit left in the OBS to go up.
iRacing Series, Dale, appreciate you being a part of the show tonight, and also introduced you as the executive director at iRacing. So just tell us a little bit more about
Dale Earnhardt interview.
This is a pretty. He's got a pretty badass room there.
You know, begged to get on the beta and got a chance to get on beta, and we, I joined this group of guys, and they're spending every night of the week racing at VIR with the Skip Barber car, which was the only track and the only car that they had in development at the time. And basically, that's kind of where it started. Everybody in the sim world is excited about the next big thing, excited about the next project, the next sim that's getting built. And there was
Will in chat wants us to have the new damage model before the break fans.
NR 2003. And so iRacing was kind of going to be the next thing. It was the same guys that had developed all the Papyrus platforms and all the Papyrus sims that we enjoyed for so many years. So there's a lot of great expectations, but it's just been a long journey, and I've been trying to support iRacing as much as I can to try to help the motorsports industry and the connections that I have understand really how great this sim is and how much of an asset each one can be for the other. So, and we've really gotten to that point now where obviously, where motorsports looks at iRacing as an asset, as a tool for drivers, and as a way to market.
That's where it really changed.
So that's really been a cool thing to see.
Especially when they started using iRacing to design tracks.
Attached to
including fixing, which one was it? Was it the Chili Bowl?
Yeah, Chili Bowl.
Part of the program, be a part of the future of iRacing.
Clamp it's up to
and
19th
it's getting a lot
now.
easier these days because everybody wants to be a part of it, and everybody sees the growth, and everybody sees it as a great way to kind of connect to hardcore motorsports fans, and so it's been.
He's got my haircut.
And my role really hasn't changed.
Maybe he's been watching your TikToks.
I just
Who
continue
hasn't been
to
watching
try
his
to
TikToks?
create relationships and partnerships.
Me.
And be a sounding board.
I get a kick out of him.
When we go into areas where
I just like Mike's confidence.
Or a manufacturer
To get creative, that stuff's hard.
Needs an education on.
Well, you don't have a pair. To be honest, it's really hard as a male
There's
sometimes
a lot
to
of
do
other
TikToks where you have to be
things that
creative
I
as a
like
male.
to do.
Well, see, the thing is, my stepdaughter is the influence. She's, 18 and just started college, and her and her friends, they do it for a living kind of thing. And so it's kind of rubbed off.
That may be difficult to attain, or maybe just kind of make that process a little easier on how iRacing can attain the information they need.
You should drop some special news. That'd be cool.
Vehicle on the racetrack, and that's been a lot of fun too. Because
What week are we in season 4?
you get to play the role of a staff member like yourself.
3?
somebody
We're
working
3,
on
yeah. So it'll be a while before the next patch.
something
I wonder if A Open will switch to A car in season 1.
in a positive way. That's a lot of fun for me, so I get to do that on a smaller scale. But so it's been great.
Probably because that's going to run into.
And I'm glad to be
It'll run into NIS, yeah.
part of the family. I've kind of been this friend for
Will said in cap, or in Will just said it's week 5.
It's great to be brought in and
he says
really,
iRacing needs to go to 360 hertz telemetry so teams can use it instead of R factor.
Well,
that would be a big plus for us because more teams would work with iRacing.
Are in the top 5 each on starts with Michael Conti and Brad Davies.
I'm not the technical whiz to know what that means.
Well, how many teams are they actually using R factor in their factory sims? Is that what he's saying?
I think some of that's used. Yeah, that's where a lot of the scanning and stuff comes from.
I'm pretty shocked. I know Steve and how he runs his. I know Steve and how.
Should have just had Will on tonight. He was watching with us anyways.
I'm not surprised.
Tell Will to get on TeamSpeak.
I know the driver really well, but I'm surprised that he's having the success that he's had this year. He's had an awesome year, and I like it because I go to work on the weekends and Steve's wanting to talk iRacing, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll talk some iRacing with you. So he's gotten hooked. He's definitely addicted and enjoying himself in this series as an owner.
Appreciate the time.
Says he can. He's at work.
But thanks for being a part of tonight's broadcast.
Shouldn't you be working, Will?
Looking forward to seeing how your involvement with iRacing continues to progress into the future. Steve, I'll go right back to you.
I want that
one.
job.
I think the quote I take away
if
from
I
that
work on my
is
job, I end up
surprised
if I do what
at
he's
your
doing right now, I end up crashing into somebody.
I didn't really know how to take that. It was kind of a dig.
I end up on
It
the
hurt
news.
a little bit, but I do know what he means. Listen, iRacing is the #1 simulation racing out there. It's
the connection issue for Garrett Lowe.
We have at our fingertips, and I will say the same sort of.
That's going to he's in the relegation zone, as David would call it, and that means he might be having to race into the Coke Series again.
Old man Zielinski's kind of pinned in right here. But we're building this organization, and Bobby Zielinski was a big part of it. When he came on this year, he brought so much pace
up to
and so much
14th.
work behind the scenes, and I love having Chris Sherburne on the team as well. He's kind of the old school, one of the originals, and it's fun to have him. Dale talks about those early days of Papyrus.
You wonder how many people are letting him by, though.
So it only seemed right to give him a home at Latardi.
Just depends. I mean,
You don't want to be the guy who messes up the four.
You don't want to be the hand that takes somebody out. Like in the
Letting him go, and the other, like I said before, he's just he's got all these teammates with the various teams that they're associated with. That's half the field right there.
You don't want to be the
hand.
hand.
Some kind of agreement,
You don't want to be the hand that bites the feed.
Do what he can
right
now to keep at least that
today?
5-point margin that he has on the rest to lock in to the top 20. You guys were talking about Michael Conti and his
talked about that hand guy.
Conti is confident in his race car. He believes
Joey Hand.
Yeah,
because apparently he's a decent road racer, but has never run a any oval.
He's never run NASCAR period in any series.
Worst qualifying effort of the season, has worked his way up into position number 13. But the downside to this, Evan, his tires, quote unquote.
What happened? He took out Truex.
Feels like they're on shreds.
Pretty much.
He continues to work his way through the field, but what an effort early in this one.
Yeah, he knows that he has to dig himself.
If Byron had won, Truex wouldn't have made it.
So far, he is the biggest mover on the racetrack, plus 18 positions, and at the top.
Yeah, Byron and Brad and Truex were fighting to stay in.
Second is Leahy. Zelensky still at 8th.
Here's a nice run by Clampett.
Charge forward up to 13th position. Clearly not one of the drivers concerned about saving anything right now.
Their tires are getting worn here at lap 34. You'd think at some point he's going to stop going forward.
So far back that 97 team has had to go on the offensive, and they are about to crack the top 10. So that's
probably hoping for an early caution.
Pretty close though. If he's 34 laps in, he's in 12th. He'll get the top 10 before lap 50.
Pressure there for second, as Mitchell DeYoung's been able to open up about a
How many laps is it?
leading all the laps.
167.
Yeah, there's a little gap behind DeYoung.
Okay, 62.
They're stacked up. That's really, I think, what's got Zelensky bottlenecked up in front of Zelensky. You see Casey Curran, Ryan Luza.
So I wonder if they will short pit or run it long.
Bolin, all right here. It's that risk versus reward. They love to jump to the outside, try to get on that right rear quarter panel and make a path, as we see currently. Salas climbs the hill, but instead comes right back in the tire tracks of Graham Bolin.
The one that really hasn't done anything is Zelensky so far, right?
Of
He's
course,
stayed
we
where
talked
he's
about that
pretty much
incredible
qualified.
performance he had at
Yeah, he's just riding.
To a championship picture. He's right in the mix here as well. Steven Wilson just a step back in the fast.
Boy, Clampett's coming, man. He's up to 12.
I always think the Roush Fenway logo is like cousin it.
Have all been gaining at the expense of guys like Luza, he really does not want to let these cars by. So I know we're only 37 laps in of 166.
We need lyrics with that to that song to send in a door bumper.
Man, that new intro they had is awesome.
I could actually have my band accompany me because that's a part of our halftime show.
In the team championship headed into this season
finale.
Yeah, we're doing horror comedy, so we did Nightmare Before Christmas, Addams Family, and Ghostbusters.
Underneath Luza in a battle for sixth at the moment, the first side-by-side bout on the
and for marching onto the field, instead of doing a traditional march-in, they all come in as zombies.
Zelensky took P8 real early in this race, Steve, but he hasn't been able to get away, and here comes pressure. Conti is all over the back of him, pushing him down to turn 3.
Yeah, it's what I see out of Zelensky is I feel like he has a little bit better car, but he's not willing to risk it, to jump it to the outside and make that sort of move. So as he gets more conservative, it seems like...
So I'm going to tell you about selling my rig.
So this is the battle he's going to fight, and this is
Old
what happens
one.
when you qualify just inside that top 10, 39 laps complete. There's no reason to panic.
Yeah, so
you see these two cars side
yeah,
by
so
side.
my wife
This
posted
is a good
it. I
run.
told her she could
For
keep the
Zelensky right here,
revenue,
turns to the bottom of the racetrack,
you know, for
but just
college
nowhere to
tuition
go.
and whatever for the daughter. And so she posted it up on Facebook Marketplace and got a few responses, and somebody hit her up and was very interested. Contact my husband. So he wants to mail me a check. He wants me to cash it, and then he will send somebody to pick it up after I have the money. Like,
yeah, and then you have the feds on your door.
Is that what it is? It's some kind of... That's what Kathy said. Oh, it's some kind of scam.
Yeah, as he's coming through the field, he's encountering
or his henchmen will come and collect the money as they collect the rig.
His crew has said, some of these may
Cash it, don't deposit it.
nice to pass as you ride on board with that 97.
Well, that's something interesting.
See, that's a good idea. Yeah, so I told her, look, I'm not going to give up the rig until I have the money, you know.
Interact with playoff competitors, and I feel like that is
so you know, if the check shows up, great, you know.
Something just seems off about it.
I mean, there's Venmo, Cash App, PayPal.
Here, Mike, tell him exactly what you said last night about that.
Inside that rear bumper, breaks the rear bumper plane. They also don't race him.
Mike said that he didn't want to do that at all.
Normal person would do it.
Wants to be in Logan's position. They want to have a chance. We see it on Sundays on NBC.
So yeah, I don't know what to expect.
Now listen, we have some feuds. We have.
Is this somebody trolling me, like, you know, or something like that?
No guarantees. But you definitely see the respect. But
was it Trevor Trogan or whatever?
Another, and it is a hornet's nest.
Hey, he is from Florida.
Right here. 3 wide in the middle, or at least 2 wide on the top. Nerve-wracking laps for Zelensky.
Yeah, big pickups for Keegan Leahy. Remember, they were all stacked up behind
up to 11th for Clampett, but I think Clampett's stuck in this pack here that they're showing, right?
A driver who has qualified well on these intermediates, but needs to work on the long-run pace. And Leahy has started.
So he texted me. So I haven't talked to this guy. I just texted with him. So I'm just going to read you what he wrote. Good morning, Mike. Hello, interested in your Obuto Revolution Sim Racing Cockpit 500. Your wife said I should get a hold of you.
Inside of the top 8 last time around.
And I said, yeah, I will take a check, but it needs to clear the bank before pickup. And he said, that is what I told your wife. I said, I'm selling it as in used condition. He says that the check has to be cleared and cashed first before picked up due to trust and honest.
But Logan Clampett is now in
not even good English. And I said, okay, that works for me. And he said, I will need your name and address, state, and zip code to have the check sent out. And so I gave it to him. And he says, great, consider it sold and kindly remove the ad from your site just to let you know that the mover money will be inclusive on the check, trusting you to help me to give the added money to the mover when he comes to pick up at your residence. I will surely get back to you with the tracking number when I'm done here. Thanks.
Is this going to be on one of those A&E episodes where the guys that ship across, those pickup truck drivers that come in and pick up and ship across? Was it Shipping Wars?
I don't know.
And this is where you see turns.
Guarantee you I'm not giving out anything without being paid.
We'll give him the inside position on Ryan Luza in the 4. You see Luza
when the truck driver shows up, make sure you got one of those nice pieces with you.
I'm always armed. I mean, yeah, it's not like I'm
side by side there.
You know.
Hey, now is that one thing you added to the sim? Did you have a gun holder for it?
Exactly how he always looks.
Well, that was an idea.
No, but you gave me an idea.
Because
normally when we take a look at him.
Yeah, but your whole thing there, Kyle, goes with the your stream theme for GTA. You need a piece on your where you sit.
Oh no.
For Bobby Zielinski.
Locked in using that
give me an AR holder.
Wheel setup that we've talked about.
So who knows? He said. Then later he said, "Did you get my text? The check will be sent out tomorrow morning. There's a holiday today."
Wonder how long it'll take from Florida to Arizona.
Has been true to for this entire season. Let's see as Clampett closes back in on the 4 Luza if he can do anything. I mentioned, of course, that none of the drivers in the championship.
So the snit's actually getting snug 25 laps in for me.
iRacing series, and none of them have won a race here at Texas either. Well,
practicing.
Ryan Luz is a 2-time Texas.
Which set you running?
2018 and 19.
Mighty.
Here in 2020, so these guys are keeping pace.
So he's in the top 10 just before lap 50. He's 9th now.
Oh, you see tight racing right there from Clampett.
Do you see guys actually pulling over, or is he actually having to work them?
He's working now because he's 9th, right? So he's up. Zielinski's 7th, Leahy's 2nd, and DeJong's 1st.
Yeah, I've got it up above my rearview mirror, so I can't really actually see the cars right now.
Looks like the 97 struggling to complete that pass on the bottom.
Looks like he has no front tires anymore. He's coming off the bottom a little bit more than everybody else.
And a decision on pit strategy is looming. You're watching the championship.
Yeah, I think he wore out his stuff enough to where he was.
eNASCAR Coca-Cola.
That's a long distance to drive up to, and really hard to get through the field.
And also the green track wears the tires out more.
Yep.
So if they're going to do a 2-stop, they're going to be pitting any moment.
Yeah, they'd be what, 53 laps?
Right.
54 for, yeah. Yeah, 55 laps.
No cautions. I kind of wondered what we would see.
Wasn't there a late race caution last year and Conti won this race because it was just drag racing and crazy racing with like 5 to go?
Yeah, Conti won last time.
What you grew up watching, your home track, your favorite car, the series you've always wanted to race in.
Remember, this was the track where
we're here, bringing you as close to the action.
Timmy Hill got into William Byron, was it?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good move.
Just like you.
Yeah, for the win.
And here, every day is race day.
I did that last night.
That was slick, man. I saw that replay. So what did they say anything to you, or?
No.
And back live
Tyler
from iRacing's
realized it was going to happen because
Texas
he came
Motor
down for the
Speedway
block.
coverage of tonight's race is brought to you by
He admitted in chat
Coca-Cola,
that
the
he probably
official
should have just
fan
stayed outside more and let me go into the
eNASCAR.
corner.
By DoorDash, proud sponsor
Especially when you know
of
it's coming.
2311 Racing.
Well, I mean, him and I
by
battled that
Placing,
whole race.
the
If he didn't
official
screw up, it would have been
racing
the
chair of
complete race of me and him battling.
Your race
I was
leaders
18 seconds ahead of him until that caution came out.
67 in tonight's Texas 250, the 18th and final round of this 2000.
I think we got him sold on that caution system, though.
Coca-Cola iRacing
That thing
Series.
works slick.
Championship 4 drivers: DeYoung, Leahy.
What's that? What are you guys using?
Running 1, 2,
It throws a yellow after a certain number of total incidents by everybody on the track.
Really? Weather brings that or not?
Yeah, so what did he say was at 20?
Oh, you can do it on oval too. I like doing it on some silly races, you know, where like the iRacing Super Speedway with a vulnerability on, and you just have it go off every 40 X's or so.
That's what's going to jumble this up.
So otherwise you'll always be under caution at that track.
7th position. Zelensky though following back to 12th. You wonder if he's not
Clampett's ahead of Zelensky now.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm just thinking, man, he must be the fastest car on track. I mean, who else is coming through the field?
Well, how much is DeJong and Leahy having to push it? Probably not much, right? They're probably got the best handling cars right now.
Well, Mitchell has clean air.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's probably the least amount of stuff done to it. He's basically dragging Leahy around. I mean, if Clampett, ends up pulling this off, he's definitely the one that worked for it the most.
I would say he earned it coming up through the field like that from 31st
Oh yeah.
7th or whatever he is.
Oh, here they go.
All right, we mentioned it. Zelensky was the lowest of the 4 championship cars. I think that really necessitated a pit stop and a pit stop on the early side. So here he is coming to pit road. Make some adjustments, try to figure out. The car looked good early on the run, but just really slowed down too much. The question now, though, is how much longer will
I like coming in early.
Clamp it, wait, and there's your answer. Team 2311 on pit road together.
Oh,
man. They were awfully tight, too, getting down
they got
to
everything
pit road
out of
speed.
that one.
Mitchell DeYoung with a 4-tire slide, slowing that car down to 45 miles an hour. So 2311 was in sync with one another. Logan Clampett now the lone championship 4 car to stay out. Right as I say that, he goes up over the open radio channel and says that he will be pitting this time. So in the process of 3 laps, all 4 of your championship cars will be in. You can see your race leaders are in right now. Wilson, Kerwin, Luza, Clampett, Conti.
Wow, lots of lockup.
Clean entry for the 97.
Well, those tires can't have much left of them, so we're trying to stop the car.
As they continue to pit other cars on the racetrack, I was kind of watching the pit times to see how consistent they were. Seemed like Bobby Zelensky with a pretty decent pit stop. Mitchell DeYoung matched it. Keegan Leahy, maybe a little bit quicker of the 3.
And it's just tense. Fastest pit stop, I have Zelensky to 14.6. But he actually had the longest time on pit road total at 38.6. The fastest in that category would have been Leahy, only spending 38.2 seconds on pit road. But when you're all in a couple of tenths, I would consider that mission accomplished, Steve. It's not like somebody was 1 or 2 seconds slower. Nobody bombed it. Nobody missed the entry.
Now, the guys on one stop, they're going to stay out to, 84?
Absolutely. That's what
I don't think you can go one stop here. Were they talking about that?
I'll be honest. They make it look so easy.
They were on the twit.
Come off the banking onto the
One stop would only be, you'd have to be able to go 100, and that just takes you 124 laps.
eNASCAR stock cars, and
there's no way.
Much easier than it really is.
What is your data telling you, David? How many laps can you get on a tank?
Right now, I'm getting 63.
Yeah, they can't. They're already at. They're going to be pitting here in a couple laps, Mike. They're not going to make a one-lapper or one-stopper.
For the championship, there's money on the line for the race win here tonight as well.
You don't go 80 laps at a mile and a half. That don't happen. Not under green. 60-something.
80-something
at milers.
Available on a weekly basis in this series. All 4 of your Championship 4 drivers already have made more than $1,000 apiece in race purse payouts here in 2021, but looks like Logan DeClampett loses a little bit of ground. He was right behind Zelensky when they came down pit road, and all those red Championship 4 drivers pinned at the top. Clampett all of a sudden.
And I should get my button box Friday. It's shipped from Poland on Monday.
It's very consistent, so it could be the out lap, the in lap, could be the traffic in which he was able to blend back on the racetrack. But you see him right here. The car doesn't look bad, but it only takes.
I still gotta get me some kind of butt kicker setup ordered.
That's what happened to Logan Clampett, and that turned into basically.
I intend to add some kind of butt kickers soon.
I'll tell you what,
rather
I've got
than later.
I got it, and I love it. It's made a big difference.
You think I should go with the off brand that Bobby showed?
I don't know. I've got the butt kicker brands. All I got.
Driver to ever lead every single lap at an oval race when he dominated at Richmond. That was just
I
his
would,
6th career
Bobby
start.
wouldn't steer you wrong on that kind of stuff.
For a rookie, he's stretching things, and you take a look
Didn't,
at the left-hand side of your screen. Now,
Rochette
these
make
numbers
his
will
own?
change because we're in the middle of a pit cycle.
He gave up on it, I believe.
Yeah.
With Maines and Novak, and now it flips 1
Yeah,
point in
he
Novak's
tried.
favor.
Oh, he tried it.
20th and 21st.
It didn't work out well enough for him to keep.
Hanging out for the offseason or fighting for your life through that 7-round eNASCAR Road to Pro Contender iRacing Series. Salas does pit for the race lead, so does...
Did y'all see no road courses on the road to Pro?
To the race lead.
That
For
makes
the moment,
sense.
he's a driver in that battle.
There's
to
no
stay in
need
this
for them to put it in there if they don't.
There's
Because
so
how
much
many,
going
how
on.
many
The
races
battle for
are
the
there?
title, the
7?
battle for the relegation, as we are starting
Yep.
to close in on halfway home from Texas.
No plates
How
either.
battle's going to be coming, Tim, this next time.
And Mitchell
That's
DeYoung was
odd.
really
Usually
happy
they
with
would
his
put
pit
one
stop,
in, you'd
Evan.
think.
Took a slight spring adjustment on that race car, but as we've seen all night long, that car looks into the racetrack and it looks good. The only thing he said after the pit stop is, with all these drivers coming back and forth and pitting and us trying to pass them, this is the craziest it's been all season. His crew chief responded, "It is what it is. Keep digging."
I find it interesting. It's good for DeYoung because he cycles through as the net leader. That's exactly what he wants, Steve. But the guy behind him has got exactly what he's working with, right? I mean, those are team cars. Not to mention, you could kind of toss Bobby into the conversation with some technical alliances as well. So it's got to be so incredibly difficult. We talk about the margins, right? How hard it is to differentiate yourself when you're at this.
So at 40 laps, my front's 20 degrees hotter, but my rear is 8 degrees more worn out. And it feels tight.
Are guys that you're quite close with.
Yeah, it really comes down to what you do with the opportunity. And right now, I think Keegan Leahy sees the opportunity a little quicker
tough.
than Mr. DeYoung. He's going to try to
Huh?
take over what
So
will
that's
be the
tough,
race
but
lead
it's,
if the
this
cycle
track is
around.
always horrible
As
on the
you see,
right front.
97 of Clampett exactly where he doesn't want to be, and that is in heavy.
Yeah, the right
heavy
front's up to
traffic.
300. The right rear's up at 280.
And that's probably due to the early pit stop. Bobby Zelensky, he was outside the top 10, now running in the 5th position, as you see on the top of your screen.
It's actually a good split.
Drivers, those are your playoff drivers. Below that, the running order. The red drivers are playoff drivers. The blue drivers are those drivers battling for relegation. Now that it's cycled around, it's Mitchell DeYoung.
Does Kevin Harvick look like a fool?
The battle for the lead is close as Clampett is in heavy traffic.
He looks worse because of his comment. I don't think if he would have said nothing after the race, he'd probably be better off, but his comment did not help him much.
He's always been a fool.
For one final time this year, let's go iRacing full throttle at No Limits, Texas.
He'd look less like a fool if he didn't sit in the wall.
He was going to end up in the wall at some point, no matter what, in a couple laps after that anyways.
Yeah, but it makes it look like he was so worried about Chase running him down, he just lost focus.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everybody's guilty of that at some point in their career, right?
I'll just quote a title. Karma 0, Paranoia 1.
Yeah, that was from Brett. Taylor Hurst looks, he's a leaner, eh?
I was going to say, he's got this certain look to it.
Yeah, he does. He's falling out of his chair almost.
That's why you need the seatbelt right there.
Hey.
Jimmy Mullins likes it dark like Zelensky.
You know, I've got my seatbelts and I never wear them.
You're wearing them right now.
I know. I just want to see if they actually fit around me since I've gained a bunch of weight.
What brand are they?
Next Level Racing.
Oh, cool. Conti.
I mean, look at his seat. He's got a big old wrap around his head seat.
Do you see what's behind it, Mike? It's an MPI.
Yep.
He has that's the MPI one that's was going up, isn't it?
They have a Mazda seat that's like that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's the one Brian was talking about. I'm kind of glad I missed that. I like my blue seat.
Isn't that usually how it is when you're waiting for something and then all of a sudden you jump on something else? That's when it comes out.
I kind of knew that was going to happen. That's the way my luck works.
That's like everybody that, like, after a year bought a direct drive and then all of a sudden they start driving these the DD minis.
Or if you spent the same amount of money on that CSL and they come out with a DD right after.
Yeah, Charlie, I agree with you there. I don't understand Kevin's mentality there.
There's a Logitech ticker for you.
Another Canadian.
That is what it looks like, full throttle here from Texas Motor Speedway, and through all of that, the championship picture continues to evolve. But DeYoung was able to shake off a bit of a challenge, coming from Keegan Leahy. They came after that pit
Clampett just passed Zelensky again.
As you can see,
He's
about
up to
4 to 5 car lengths right now, but they are
it looks like they're side by side.
seconds ahead
keep
of
swapping on my
everybody
screen.
else, and then behind them, a battle for third in the title fight. Clampett on the inside, Zelensky's on the outside, side by
And I think with no cautions like this, that track position is king. These front two have it.
But Bobby not gonna roll over.
Oh yeah, it's hard to come over.
Yeah, Bobby's
overcome that gap, right?
Right.
Now, Michael Conti will join the bottom of the racetrack on that number 8 out of the Junior Motorsports campaign. Zelensky pitted a little bit earlier.
So it's two Toyotas versus two Chevys, eh? There's no Ford in the championship.
On the opposite side, the two 2311 cars.
That's nothing new, right?
Widen that gap, and Mitchell DeYoung did a nice job of holding off Leahy, who I believe had more speed on new tires.
Here's the onboard look. Clampett top left.
Normally, I like getting some nice Twitter replays of the crashes, but there haven't been any.
Winner and a past champion in Michael Conti sits right there in line, and he opts to go to the inside with his teammate. So that camera shot kind of shows all three of these guys, because Michael Conti's just out of frame. In the top right of Clampett's webcam, you can see a little bit of the rig of Michael Conti. Conti opted to go to the bottom, and it has allowed the 97
Can you imagine the
to
bandwidth
Clampett
coming out of that household? Clampett and
Logan
Conti
for the first
trying to
time
get
tonight
both of them running at the same time.
In the
And streaming cameras.
He's now going to try to make up some time. And the positions are one thing, right, Steve? It's good to get up to 7th, but he's still 4 seconds off of the race leader. If he started up front, probably one of the fastest cars on track right now.
Charlie.
But now it's a different challenge for him. He doesn't have to pass race cars. He has to make up time on the fastest cars in the field, as they have a little bit of clean air until they get up to that quartet up the road of Wilson, Kerwin, Bolin, and Duvall.
He has to make up time, and he also has to understand he's going to need a little help. 80 laps complete of 167 laps. We're still just a little bit short of halfway. There's not going to be any sort of guaranteed yellow, but I think Logan Clampett has to believe his best chance is at least a yellow. Kind of take a deep breath, stack the field back up, and then attack the front two from there. Zelensky just continues to look like he's fighting the handling of his race car. Looks like a corner exit. Looks like it's a little bit free from the middle of the corner off. He's just really unable to keep the power down and commit to the steering wheel like he would want, and I think that's what is hurting him.
When we talk about the distance that those
rear chase cam.
Virtual drone cam, and this is overlooking the battle for third. That's Wilson who's got it, Kerwin trailing him, and then way up the road is DeYoung and Leahy. Now, I mentioned it was an advantage of about 2.4 seconds. It's actually trickled down.
I just slammed the wall because I'm watching the camera.
Last lap, Wilson ran a 31.064. It was a 31.146 for DeYoung at the front of the field. So keep that in mind. Maybe the drivers in third and fourth, keeping them honest at the front of the field. But, I mean, certainly the best advantage we've seen all night, and kudos to the 2311 cars for being perfect on the pit cycle. Good to see Wilson sporting some different colors on that Facet-All Ford for Roush Fenway Gaming. We talked about that. You'll see that.
Ray Alfal's got to make up 6 points, otherwise he's relegated.
He always comes through in a pinch, it seems like.
You want to mention, Steve, one guy we haven't talked a ton about is Jimmy Mullis. He started 34th. He's up to 13th. That's a big driver, who's trying to get into the mix here. And
David, I found a way to put the chat on the
just a couple
stream
of
now.
drivers we're watching making some progress.
Yeah, right
Good.
Behind Mullis, Nick Ottinger jumps right out.
Now I just got to create an area to put it, but I guess most of the time for ours, we only have 4 people on the show, so I'll just put it below the cameras for the actual
83 green flag laps.
streams.
So all these positions, anywhere on the track that you have gained or lost positions, it's all happened either under green or under the pit cycle. No pit strategy, no cautions to stack the field back up.
We'll just watch it as all of this continues to play out. And, we answered our first question. Was anybody going to go on a one-stop strategy? The answer for that was no. They weren't able to get to the 80s. Thought that was a far cry. Everybody decided to go for the 2-stop strategy. And now we race to 83 laps to go, meaning we're about 20 laps back into
Clampett might have a shot at being in third place.
I'm going to talk some more iRacing with you.
Right.
In the commercial that you voice over, it says doesn't matter what your favorite series is, what car you want to drive.
Then you never know, because these races tend to have late cautions.
Options we have on the iRacing platform. What's your favorite car in the sim?
Why am I dropping?
There's 2 cars on the service that I really are enjoying and have been enjoying over the last probably year and a half, 2 years.
Legends.
The Street Stock and the 1987 series. So I race in a league with some friends with the Street Stock car, and that's been a lot of fun. And that car has been enjoyable because it continues, like all of the products.
Because you have to race it.
Software on the service, it's always sort of updating, changing, tweaked, massaged, and so it's never just the same thing over and over and over. Even if you're racing the same car at the same tracks week after week, the sim continues to be updated and improved, and whether it's the tire model or the car physics or whatever, it's always kind of this nice new thing, and has a new feel to it. So I like that. It's almost as dynamic as real life racing, as far as how tracks age and change. Well, this service does that as well.
I got a good lead on a story.
I enjoy the
SimuCube is launching their own new storefront.
Had an update on those that I had a
Where
little
are
bit
they
of
based?
involvement in.
They're not US,
So
right?
I was really happy with how that turned out.
No, I think it's Europe.
The car.
The real name of the company is called Granite Devices.
Customers, so that they are getting a more realistic.
Everything's gone so online. I guess you could manage it in really, really big cities.
I think over time, as we hone in on the setups that we're actually providing, because it's a fixed setup series on the official side of the service. I think as we hone in on the setups and continue to improve them, that's just going to get better.
But they have simucube.com.
We also have a new manufacturer to include in the 87 cars.
It says it ends here. This is the top of the hill. All racers will end up here sooner or later if they're in the race for real.
More variety on the racetrack when you're out there racing, and in the 87 cars to add more manufacturers to that series.
So the aftermath, we're talking about wheels, and Tony was saying that he might get the Sim Magic.
Pushing to get some of that going on in that series.
AccuForce is the way to go.
When you're talking about those 87
That's what Chris got.
Keeping it topical and talking about
I've had mine now for almost a year, and I love it.
First career NASCAR Cup Series win right here in Fort Worth. They beat out your.
I've had problems with Fanatec.
I think it's kind of funny that they think we wouldn't allow them to badmouth Fanatec on the show.
Texas is a really difficult racetrack And
I have badmouthed Fanatec several times already.
Different. And you have to be really patient. You know, you can overdrive.
Tony
the car,
said something like Fanatec could
especially
blow
down in
him
turn
or
1 and
something
2.
like that. I don't know what
You
it
have
was.
so much
It was pretty funny.
throttle in turn 3 and 4, and you get so comfortable down there. You really kind of sometimes forget how much work you need to do at the other end of the racetrack, and how much patience you have to have entering the corner.
Clampets up to fourth.
On the bottom, and then getting back to the gas.
You know,
get up off of turn
he's
2.
got to be the car to beat right now, you think, unless something happens.
What's his delta to lead?
Into turn 3. So it's a really, really challenging track. And the guy that has that toughness and can stay on task and
I'll let you know in a second.
Hit turn 1 and 2 lap after lap the right way.
He's 1.9 off the leader.
Out,
There you go. He's within striking range.
Success. And you just got to stay patient.
Yeah,
it's really easy to get impatient. It's so hard to pass because of the way the
And
track's laid
crazy
out.
if we had 3 cars
It really
battling
can
for the
make you
championship
impatient. You might
at the end of this race. That would be awesome.
moves that maybe you don't need to be making. Going to put you in a bad situation.
It's kind of a sim imitating real life, because it's usually that way with the big boys.
Yeah, it's a fun racetrack though.
So Evan just tweeted, Dale announces a third 87 stock car.
Yeah, the olds. Did we already know that?
We already knew that, yeah.
Yeah.
Challenging, really tricky to be patient and get down in that corner and keep the car on the bottom and get through there the right way.
That's all right. Get some retweets.
As it has been green all the way, Dale. Thanks again for stopping in. We'll chat with you, I think, a little bit later on in this race with 74 laps to go, but a big swing in the
I thought they should have had the Pontiac come in.
New race leader.
So I've been corrected. Mitchell DeYoung has never won an oval race. He has 2 road wins, but no oval.
How about that, Tim?
Evan,
Yeah, I think that's right. Zelinsky won the oval race this year
on Pocono, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it Poco or Cali?
And then he's been seeing with the crew how fast the 97 car is of Logan Clampett. He says, if I have to go, I have to go now, which is the move you just saw. He feels like he's faster than Logan Clampett. His teammate Mitchell DeYoung and the rest of the field, the VRS number 32, to the lead. We'll see how long he can hold it.
We'll see how long he can hang on for this one as we take a look at these top 2 drivers. Leahy DeYoung, 1.7 seconds.
Leader.
And company. There's a look at Logan Clampett in the running order. He is up to position number 4, and he continues on his charge. So let's ride on board with him.
His tires are like a lap or 2 fresher than the rest of the field, I think. I don't know if that makes a big difference, but it might.
The fall off is pretty hard here. I was well over 2 seconds off the pace at 40 laps.
Yeah, but a 2-lap difference, is that going to make a big difference? I mean, it does for the 2 laps where he's still out on the track and they're 2 seconds faster than him. But does he make it up on the back end?
I don't know.
Well, the next big pass is going to be for Steven Wilson, Steve, and at that point he'll be unobstructed to try to get to those top 2. I was going to say that Zelinsky has started to slip, but he really hasn't, right? He's in P8. That's where Bobby's been all night long, but, I mean, Logan and Clampett just continues to have, I think, the best car on track.
Well, we heard Tim report Keegan Leahy was concerned about the 97 speed, and I think it is an accurate concern. I believe the 97 clean air to clean air has more pace than the 2311 cars, or at least they did with Mitchell DeYoung and the 23 leading. Now that the 32 has taken the lead, he's a half a tenth quicker. He stretched it to 0.4 of a second, and he has been a touch faster than the 97. Now, I believe the 97 is being held up by this car right here, Steven Wilson. We'll see if Logan Clampett can find his way by him. But let's remember, with 69 laps to go, how poor it was the last pit cycle for Logan Clampett. Logan is going to have to do a better job through the pit cycle if he wants to have a chance to win this race.
I think it's not looking good for Mitchell right now. If he's lost the lead, he's not going to get it back.
He's going to have to get around Steven Wilson, but Steven is not going to be an easy guy to get around. He's locked into this championship for 2022, and
does he block for
not
Keegan comes to that?
He's not that kind of driver, I don't think.
Guys who made the playoffs.
This
He's
is
got
a,
5
this is
top
a
5s this
fast
year. That's
forward
better
that we got
than
here
most
too,
of the
right?
cars that
So
made the playoffs.
the only
Really a
Fords in
great
the top
campaign
10.
for Stephen Wilson, the driver out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, started this race 10th. He's driven his way up to 3rd and is balanced out at about 1.8 seconds off of the Leahy and the Young battle, and is staying out of arm's reach of Logan de Clampett at the moment.
I mean, Stephen Wilson up there in the top 4, I mean, he's looking good. Rookie year, I mean, talk about a good crop of rookies this year. I mean, you got Mitchell and you got Stephen Wilson and
road course wins, right? And that's kind of how he locked himself in. Won at COTA and won at Road America. But I talked
Vicente Solid. Yeah, he was hot this year.
6 for 6, counting tonight.
Yeah, just not consistent enough.
But his finishes,
Garrett had a lot of bad luck.
He didn't have a great year, but yeah.
An intermediate track this year. But the last time we saw him on an oval like this was Charlotte back in May. So it's been a while. And one thing that he has worked on all season long has been that race pace. But, I mean, what Keegan Leahy's doing has got to make Mitchell nervous, despite that the 23 is having his best career performance on an oval.
Well, he's having his best.
Lose quietly in 8th or 7th or 8th.
Keegan Leahy has a little bit more pace. I really think when you look at Mitchell DeYoung and his mile and a
He's
half,
one of those guys where, like, beginning of the season, he looks unbeatable, and then it's kind of peters out towards the end.
It comes down to those shorter runs in the.
I don't know, man. He's been the man to beat in previous years.
Where it becomes a little bit more hectic for Mitchell DeYoung.
65 laps to go.
Yeah, I mean, there's times where he looks like unbeatable, but it seems like when it comes to the very end of the season, he has bad luck or something.
Has taken a lead in the battle for the championship, seeking redemption for a runner-up finish in 2019.
Yeah, we should be having stops any minute here.
Yeah, about another 10 laps at the most.
Yeah, they gotta get him within, 55 to go to make it even?
I would say 55. That's where they first spit it, around 40, 54, 55.
Because they can go 64, so does someone try and come in early and maybe try and get the jump and try and get track position?
I'm not sure I wouldn't do that.
I think there's too much tire wear to stretch it by more than 3 or 4 laps.
Somebody like
yeah, but if you're Logan Clampett, you're 2 seconds off the pace. If you come in 1 lap early, you're right there with them. If the pit stops work out quick.
Yeah, Logan can't fuck the
one or 2 laps, yes, 6 or 7, and you'll just be too much slower.
Bobby was the one who probably was going to try something. If I was Clampett, I would do whatever the other 2 do.
Zielinski was the first one to pit first time out. That's how he got ahead of Clampett. Now he's back in 10th.
Do you think that this series will ever get to more than the amount of weeks that they're running now, or do you think this is what they're comfortable doing for this series?
It's a pretty long series already.
Yeah, and we're talking guys that still do other jobs.
That's true.
Yeah. And what they're probably putting in freaking hours a race, just prepping at least.
Who you grew up rooting for, what you grew up watching, your home track, your favorite car, the series you've always wanted to race in. When you're ready to know what it's like, we're here, bringing you as close to the action as it gets with the ultimate sim racing experience. With the community.
What's the minimum?
Hey, Mike, did you hear anything?
20 laps per week practice at least.
And here, every day is
20 hours.
Yeah, minimum.
20 hours. Yeah. That's a job right there. Unless you're Keegan and Mitchell, and that is your job.
I wonder how many. Did they say how many sets of tires they got?
Fan refreshment of eNASCAR. By
No,
I didn't hear.
But they're without caution, it's not going to be a worry.
Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Well, I mean, if you come in early now, you better hope that you still have a set of tires left. Probably have 2 left.
Sure, they have at least 3.
Wheel and pedal of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. We're inside.
You can look on the website, can't you?
In the Texas 250, and happy that you're with us at eNASCAR.com/live. Alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, joined by Steve Letarte. Tim Terry's on pit road with us, and it is a green flag race that has hit lap number.
It looked like Logan might have stalled out at 4th.
And now the pit cycle to maybe determine it all, Steve.
Well, he stalled out late in the run last time, too.
Pit road. The question is, what happens with our championship 4?
I think his biggest problem is he's got to get the position and not be wasting it. The first part of the run trying to catch back up.
I can get to pit road one lap before both 2311 cars.
Yeah. That's why I think if he pits in like a lap early, he won't have to do that. He'll naturally pick up a second or two.
If you're doing the math, that would be an even tire run. And then this could be it. You know, you can't be concerned.
You know, I got to say that the choice of track is not good for the finale.
Why wouldn't they have done Phoenix?
Race, to be honest with you.
To stay perfect, and for the most
I think they should have just done Phoenix.
Right. Who cares if it hasn't been rescanned? It'd still be a better race than this.
For Miami.
Right. That's what I'm wishing is Homestead. At least we'd be racing.
Yeah, Homestead was an awesome race last year. Oh, they almost had a caution.
Goes for a slide,
nice save.
And a great job recovering that Space Station Ford Mustang. A good save. And speaking of Nick Ottinger, let's ride with your 2020 Series champion as we take a look on the Logitech G onboard camera.
How has Ottinger been doing this year?
Not great. Not good luck, you know.
Didn't he have a horrible start?
He didn't win any races. Yeah. There's cars are pitting now. It's 55. Leahy's already did. I think that's a better strategy for Egan.
This is a nice way to turn practice laps, by the way.
What, be talking with everybody here?
Yes.
Whoa, someone got...
Logan Clampett.
Holy
what
crap.
A slide
he might
as
have
he
sped
locks
there.
him up coming to pit road.
Whoa.
He is the second of your championship 4 to pit. Keegan Leahy gave up the race lead the lap prior to come down to the pit lane. So Keegan was working about a half a second advantage over Mitchell DeYoung, and notably, Steve, the 23 didn't immediately respond by coming to pit road the lap after. He will come in this time,
so I'm guessing
big
the two,
pit stop for the 23.
Mitchell DeYoung
he
and
also locks it
Leahy
up, but I think that's getting everything you can out of it.
Doing their own thing
but
now for the rest of the race.
If the 2 extra laps and a little bit slower speeds because of the older tires, will it cost Mitchell DeYoung time on the racetrack, or will it be an advantage? As the tires burn off, as they get longer in the road,
are you guys seeing
tires be an advantage?
Logan pit now, or am I behind?
Zelensky's still on the racetrack. I think at this point,
yeah, he got
something to go his way, something different. He hasn't had a bad night.
Okay, I got you.
Not a championship night. Ran just inside the top 10 most of the night. As you see Keegan Leahy storming past to unlap himself.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, if he finishes 11th, which is where he was running before this pit cycle began, that would be his best finish on a 1.5-mile track all year, beating P12 that he had a little bit earlier in the season at Las Vegas. But maybe he feels like since he was on the back foot here, that he is going to need to do something different. Sticking with the status quo, has it worked thus far? He announces over the radio that 116 is his number. Here comes Bobby Zelensky to pit road. He is down
They definitely are really good
at
getting on
4 tires and fuel,
road.
and the race lead will be handed.
Well, I bet you they've done at least 20 reps.
Only about a dozen cars still to pit.
I bet you when they do their long-run testing, they just do it every time they do long-run testing.
In 11th position. Keep that in mind as all of this continues to...
The only thing about that is that changes what you get as far as tire readings.
If you lock it up.
You see the 97 right here of Logan Clampett.
Logan's pressuring Petit. That ought to be interesting. I think Logan or Connie will just let him go.
One of the 2311 cars, Keegan Leahy.
Anybody doing the coming up A Open?
Watch the
yes.
replay. You're on board with Logan Clampett. Look on the left-hand side of the screen. There is Mitchell DeYoung, Steven. I think we both had the same thought.
I'm trying to change and doing a 40-lap run, comparing lap times.
Cost him The guys on old tires are running about 2+ seconds
So the 17 and 97 are together again on the track.
A lap before Mitchell did, and that is where a pass has been made right now, Tim, for what is second in the championship.
You kind of hit the nail on the head on the strategy for the 83 of Bobby Zielinski. They were talking about it for about 10 laps coming down into pit road. They needed to do something different than the other three. Running in 12th place, they were not winning the championship by going status quo, which is why they went long. Mitchell DeYoung in the 23 car.
See, I'd say you go short and hope for a caution, you know?
They didn't like
make up some track position, hope for a caution.
They reversed it. They also went down the tape knowing that they could potentially
I think the problem is it's really hard to have a good strategy because the difference between hitting at 55 and then running a tank out isn't much, right?
When it comes to the pit stop, including the 77 of Bob Ryan, who
if you go 8 extra laps, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're giving up 20 seconds probably.
It has been non-stop action since
I haven't seen what the difference in lap times are from start to finish of a run.
Seconds.
Right
what
now,
was that?
he is
over 2 seconds.
Place, so that means he's 7th, but the top 4 cars have yet to pit. We're still waiting.
I'm turning 31.2s right now, 37 laps into a run.
Derek Justice and Anthony Burrows to come down pit road. So once they do, we will see him cycle through to the number 3 position.
And Ray Fallon's 10 points out of 20th now.
At the end of the last run, Steve, he got to Steven Wilson, but he wasn't able to break through. Keegan Leahy
he might still need to pit yet.
Seconds ahead of these 2 cars. So if Logan Clampett wants to make something happen for a championship in these final 50 laps, he needs to get by this 17 2 laps ago. He needs to go.
Yeah, you can almost see the frustration out of Logan Clampett. He's looking high, looking low, moving around, almost showing that nose to the 17 of Steven Wilson, because this car, the 32 of Keegan Leahy, is kind of driving off into the sunset a little bit. I mean, look all
trophy
the way at the top
north of the border.
Basically, the entire front stretch is his gap, and Logan Clampett knows that. He's pushing very hard to try.
Didn't he move to America?
No, he lives in Nova Scotia.
Just locked in. I referenced it earlier. That 2008 championship with Zach Novak.
It's Halifax.
They went door to door in the final corner. He squeezed Novak up to the wall, and
isn't it like actually 1 hour ahead of Eastern Time Zone?
6 foot and an inch.
A half hour.
6 feet to make the pass the width of the
half hour?
Yeah, over east there, there's a half hour difference.
$100,000, I would have put him in the fence.
They really run on the half hours.
He's a clean driver, one of the fastest.
Let me just flip this up. I
in
remember
his
it's a half hour.
campaign
You know
in
me
the
in time
eNASCAR
zones.
Coca-Cola iRacing series is now trying to get that one extra spot and is in very good position with fuel to go the distance and with the biggest advantage for the race lead.
Wow, I got 40 laps in right as the practice ended.
I mean, Keegan looks kind of green, like he could use a Tylenol or something.
There's no sun up there, is there?
Well, I will say Steven Wilson.
I don't know.
He put up a good fight.
I need some vitamin D or something.
Move. I think it's time to remove.
Get him a UV therapy lamp.
Excuse me, 44 laps
yeah,
to go.
heat is freaking tanning bed or something.
The leader, who's currently in 3rd, but he's the leader of the race due to pit stops. Keegan Leahy, he should cycle to the lead.
Well, I like my change.
Last 3 laps compared to Keegan Leahy, losing time.
Did you move to ballast, Dave?
Wilson, now that he's in front in the green. So Clampett has a monumental task to make up about 2.8 seconds. But basically what he said to
it is the best change at a mile and a half, dude. Plain simple.
I am the faster of the 2 of us.
And I will be right back, Greg. I'm going to reboot, so it's going to kick me off the camera for just a second.
Hey, David, just so you know, I was wrong about Halifax. Halifax is an hour ahead right now.
Wasn't the case. It was Chris Shearer who won the finale at Homestead
just a little bit further over in Newfoundland, Labrador, which is the furthest east you can go in Canada.
So,
it's
Clampett leading to the
11:51.
17. I've got the speed.
That's weird.
Take us up there and we can fight for it.
To actually have to move a half hour on time zones.
Those lap times still waiting
For it's probably not a big. It's not a big drive either.
But even if they had a magic fuel cell, it wouldn't matter. Keegan Leahy's going to pass them anyways as he's starting to close in on those top 2.
And if you look at the top of the screen, Leahy 2nd, Clampett 3rd, Mitchell DeYoung 6th, and Bobby Zielinski all the way back at 20th. He ran long, trying to a different strategy, and he does have fresher tires, but a lot of ground to make up with 41 to go.
And anything can still happen. Nathan Lyon will bow out dive to pit road in the number 6 Ford, and he will crash on pit road. Nathan Lyon spins into the first pit stall. Fortunately, that is off of the track, so there will not be a caution
Kevin
flag.
Harvick did.
What a turn for Lyon, who had been a top 5 car earlier in this race, and will see a chance at a good finish to close out his campaign.
White toad. That was a mistake.
DNF. There are no drivers
that's dumb.
in the garage.
He was worried about the caution coming out or something.
I think he was far enough on pit road and it wasn't going to come out.
Lowe, who we
it looked like he had too much rear brake still in it.
Down in 40th. Here's the second look at what happened.
Yeah, he had too much rear brake.
Yeah,
the rear's
like
locked up.
Going a little bit too quick, has to use too much brake or an early downshift, loses the back end of the car, and around it comes.
And jumps out. He hits the escape button to take the toe to the pit lane, so he'll be held for a certain amount of time before he's allowed to fire back off. He is still in the race. He has not
the toe of shame,
car, so he may get back out there.
So
but
again,
again,
got by,
129 laps into this championship race.
He's in second.
Yeah, he got by the 17 finally.
Now Keegan Leahy's working with a little bit of lap traffic with Ashton Crowder, who's running in 33rd position. Not the best night, in all honesty, for the Nutrient Ag Solutions Toyota of Ashton. Started 17th, but has slipped back into position number 33 and finds himself in front of the race leader. Not really a huge factor now, but remember I said 2.8 seconds. Logan DeClampett is now within 2.0. He is closing in on the race.
It's kind of hard to come up with good notes for the show with the caution-free race.
What's going on, Kenny? Thanks for watching, man.
It just seems like the handling of the car has slowly gone away as we've run under the green flag conditions for the entire night. He's back to 4th, but he just doesn't have the pace. You know, that last lap of 30-50, which the leaders are a little bit quicker than that. You see the leaders off in the distance. I really look at Logan Clampett. Logan's speed is there. He continues to shrink the lead, now down to 1.8 seconds.
Logan Clampett has more experience than any other of the Championship 4 drivers in his 6th season of eNASCAR competition. Finished as a runner-up back in 2017, and a miscommunication there. Clampett over the radio telling the 16 to Gorlinski on fresh tires, go high, go high. He was going to move to give him the space, and there was a little bit of hesitation where the 16 started to go low.
That would piss me off.
Just curious if that may have given Clampett a moment of hesitation. Looks like he doesn't lose any time on that lap, though, so I think all is okay, but that's how quickly miscommunication can put you in a tricky spot. We'll take a second look on the right-hand side of your screen at what happened. This whole time he's saying go high, 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 high. He'll pull low right as that 16 started to go low, Steve. That could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, he was telling him to go high, but the 16, when he got there, he said, man, you haven't moved down, so I'll move down. Maybe I'm not understanding you correctly, and in the end it worked out, but it was definitely...
He's running almost a tenth of a lap faster.
For those moments, and you see right here the 97 of Clampett. You know, he worked his way past Wilson.
Should give him time to catch up, unless he's saving up tires or Logan runs out.
The lead now down to 1.65 seconds. So even though the 97 is in front of the 17, not pulling away from the 17, the 17's matching the lap times of Clampett, both running down.
Now we've seen Logan kind of stall out though at the end of the run, and when we get to the end of this race, it'll be the end of the run.
Earlier this season, that one was back on March 16th.
I mean, I like Keegan's chances right now. That track position's king.
Oh yeah,
Michael Conti, Steven Wilson have gotten ahead of him. This is a three-way battle for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
You gotta at least get to his burn and hope something happens, I guess.
Texas finale, we are following several things tonight. The battle for the championship amongst the drivers highlighted in red on the scoring ticker at the top of your screen, and the drivers highlighted in blue battling for the relegation bubble to stay in this championship next year. And I alluded earlier about the battle amongst the teammates. Well, now we can actually see Michael Conti. He is in the background of Clampett's shop, but those are the teammates. Logan Clampett, the driver, originally out of California, but a newly resident as of the last couple of years in Concord, North Carolina, running with his teammate Michael Conti, both cars inside of the top 4. And Clampett wants to bring a second eNASCAR championship to that house.
Well, he has a decent shot at it. His pace continues to improve. The lead down to 1.3 seconds. Michael Conti doing a nice job, not purposely doing anything, but as he runs in front of Mitchell DeYoung, it slows DeYoung down, or at least doesn't allow him to advance, takes a little pressure off the rear view mirror of the 97 of Clamp that allows him to focus
the helper,
forward. But it's a solid 1/10 of a second per lap every
Sounds
lap.
like he should.
1.17 seconds. Keegan Leahy losing ground to Logan Clampett with 30 laps to go.
Significant ground. It is 2 to 3 tenths of a second every single lap in favor of Logan Clampett.
Oh man, he's catching it. So 38 to go, he was 2 seconds back. Now he was then 32 to go, he was 1.5 seconds back.
Doesn't help that he had to let that lap car go back around him.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. Took his line away a little bit.
Driven himself through the field on his own volition, and is going to
I'd
have
like to see
work
live
around
timing
lap
here,
car
the gap.
Chris Shearburn. That's the pink car immediately in the foreground. Behind is Clampett. This is
0.87 seconds.
Leader Keegan Leahy. Now it is 9/10 of a second, coming to 28 laps to go. This is shaping up to be an incredible championship fight.
He looks like he's going to pass out.
You're right. He's sweating it.
He is. He is definitely on it.
Well, Keegan looks green, doesn't he? Like he's sick.
It doesn't look good with the background. It doesn't help.
Yeah, it's just creating.
I think his lighting's too light.
Lighting's too bright in his face. Yeah.
Keegan Leahy. That's the next car you see in front, less than 0.8 of a second apart.
How do you race in a real bright room like that? That's insane.
First career championship.
Couldn't tell you.
Both drivers feel
Couldn't
like
tell you either.
they're the one that's deserving.
Me neither.
Both of the drivers feel like that it's due to
Yeah,
them,
I keep
right?
mine
They've
as
paid their
dark as I
dues.
can.
Been in this series for multiple
I just have to
years.
make sure I have enough light that my rift will track.
The championship 4, trying to hold off the most senior in Keegan Leahy, the 27-year-old. This time by, let's see.
Wow, he's still only 21 years old.
I wonder how it would work though if I just strategically placed some LEDs in a few different places, some really dim ones.
Clampett is catching him in 1-2 really fast.
And we have a race-winning fight and a
1 and 2, it looks like he's a
championship-determining
lot
fight.
better.
I think about a half a dozen laps away or so, because Clampett's going to get there, Steve, but catching
Open's going up.
is only going to be one part of the problem.
So right now, Garrett Lowe is tied with Jake Nichols for the final stop, the final spot to avoid relegation. The tiebreaker goes to Nichols.
Steven Wilson on the radio asked the 17 to get out of the way, and Wilson obliged so he could go and fight for this championship. Logan Clampett is not going to get that same treatment from Keegan Leahy.
He got, but with lap traffic in front, we'll see if that allows the 97 any sort of hope. Tim.
And the main point that Evan was saying about that lap traffic, Logan was frustrated with that lap traffic, and John Gorlinski was one of those last pieces of traffic to get by, and John had just said there was no communication as to where the 97 wanted me to go. You saw on that onboard a couple laps ago, they got 3 or 4 lap cars ahead, so keep that in mind as we work forward in these final 24 laps. And oh, by the way, the 23 of Mitchell DeYoung, you wouldn't know that he's out of the championship battle or out of this battle right now when you're listening to their radio, because they think they have plenty of time to get up here too, and they think they have the pace to do it on the long run.
And if we start to see a fight for the race lead, they'll start to slow each other down.
Nice bobbles
DeYoung
there
is
coming
only
out of the corner.
1.8 seconds off at the top position as Leahy has some traffic. There are less than 23 laps to go in this Texas finale for the 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. Alongside Steve Letarte, myself, Evan Pasoko on the call, reminding you if you want to get in on the action, there's several ways to do so. First, to keep up to date with the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series and the Road to Pro Contender Series.
Twitter just went down for me.
Next month, you can find all that information and more at iRacing.com.
It's slow on my end.
Limited or something.
With iRacing, every day is race day. To start your sim racing career, go to iRacing.com for more information.
Just me?
Now Leahy clears a bit of lap traffic and puts the traffic in between he and Clem.
Brian said it was slow for him.
But Nichols knows not to be in effect.
Yeah, it's pixelated a little bit. Resolution's turned down.
No, he said Twitter.
Twitter has gone down.
Oh, my bad. My bad.
I don't think it's going to cost him a ton of time, but at this point, every hundredth or thousandth of a second matters a lot.
Yeah, he didn't do anything wrong, but he also didn't do anything outside to do anything right or help him. But this is part of it. What I like is that they are allowing the leaders to have the bottom lane. They're not completely giving in, and in the end, it's up to Logan Campbell to find this last half a second. And don't look now, but that 17 is Steven Wilson.
Not working on my phone either.
He is right off the rear bumper of the 97.
And to be fair, what was the pitch that Logan Clampett said? Let me pass.
Makes it hard to copy-paste notes for my script.
There was no agreement that Steven Wilson was not to fight if they got up there. So Steven Wilson wants to win this race just as bad as anybody else does.
I've been sitting here hitting refresh, so it probably rate limited me or something.
Quick look to the live relegation points, left-hand side of your screen. Garrett Mays
Ray O'Fallon's back to the top 20.
Jake Nichols out by 1 single point. We'll talk about that post-race as well.
That's
lot
crazy,
to be
all this
determined
how it
with
switches,
now 19 laps to go. He's got a clear shot, but it feels like
I think he might have hit it late, and now he's making up positions with fresh tires. He dropped down in the 30s.
Zelensky was just way too far back
saving just a little bit for when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
He hadn't had the pace.
No.
He pitted late, lost a lot of time, and he just doesn't have the pace to make it up.
He knows how to not panic. Although I will say, when you look on the left-hand side of your screen, Logan Clampett, he has had that focused stare all night long. But Keegan Leahy,
So what's the over-under on tiers at the end of this thing?
It's focused. He knows what's on the line with 18 to go.
Well, if it's Logan, there's definitely going to be tears.
I think even Leahy will be too, because he lost one tough, right?
0.4 of a second with 17 laps to go.
Will they touch, though? Will they hit each other?
In the last 10 laps, but
is that why DeJong doesn't think he's out of it?
There is one car up
Probably.
the road. That's Ashton Crowder. That's about it. I'm not sure if Leahy's going to deal with anybody else, Gorlinski and Justice, but there is no heavy lap traffic on the horizon.
I don't think it could do this with knowing there's $100,000 on the line.
Running his line, holding off Logan Clampett.
Clampett's focused. I mean, watch it. His eyes, he barely blinks. Once a lap, maybe.
See when he looks down to the right to check his position on the track? How far behind he is? He checks his box.
Yeah.
Stick to this very inside. He drives it in really deep that time. He made up almost a whole 1/10 of a second on the entry to the corner, and he gave.
He's got him. He's got him.
The exit. So two very different strategies to what these drivers are doing attacking these turns.
But I do love this view. It just shows the work that Clampett's putting in. It's inch by inch. It's not even foot by foot. Slowly but surely. But as we continue to say, here comes Steven Wilson.
What do you do if you're Steven Wilson? Do you pressure?
Don't get involved.
You
don't do it. You might get right on his bumper, but that would be it.
Yeah, I would. Even if I was faster than him, I'd stay behind him.
He is the closest he has been
Conti's
all
not far
night
behind
long.
it.
Wilson in third. Quite a conundrum that the 17 car has
they're
to
all
decide.
5 of them are right
Yes,
there,
he wants to fight for the race win, but I'm sure if he tries any move on Logan Clampett, Clampett's going to make that 97 Logitech G Chevrolet for William Byron Esports as wide as humanly possible.
My Twitter's
He
back.
does not want the 32 VRS Toyota for 2311 racing of Keegan Leahy to get away from him.
The
They
battle
are
of the wheels at the front here,
by
eh?
only
VRS wheels
6
versus Logitech
car
wheels.
lengths as they head off to 3 and 4 again.
You mentioned William Byron Esports. That is the team owner for Logan Clampett. William Byron eliminated from the NASCAR playoffs with an amazing drive at the Roval, leading late, and things just went away with a late caution.
Got a lap car coming up.
His driver, Logan Clampett,
He's got a hell of a drive into one there with the draft.
A great corner, nice and tidy around the bottom as Keegan Leahy opens up that entry.
Oh, that was so
the
close.
97 slid a little bit turn number 2 that time, and the numbers don't reflect that he lost any ground, but it looked like he was starting to slide it. I mean, you're looking at guys that have about 42 laps on their tires. Logan pitted 1 lap earlier than Keegan did, so there is a microscopic advantage.
Yeah, Leahy looks like he could blow chunks at any moment.
Clampett, who went for the, or I should say, Leahy pitted a lap before, Logan Clampett a lap after, so he's got the 1 lap better tires, but I don't think it matters 40 some odd laps in. The difference is going to come down to how you've treated them, and Leahy has been able to be much more reserved on this run than Logan has. Remember, he has driven past about 4 cars since they left pit road. He has erased 3+ seconds of differential to get to this moment, but he's still stuck at 4/10. You can take a look at the gap. His last lap to the leader's last lap.
He's gapped him again.
Right there, 0.4 of a second. The lap times are within 6/100ths of a second of each other. It is hard to differentiate the two right now.
He won't get him. He doesn't have long runs.
I think Clamp is in his dirty air now. It's not helping
your attention to the line
gaining.
of cars.
He's not going to get there, yeah.
Yep, that too. But also, he's faded every time.
He's gained into 1 every time, but his exit isn't as great.
We heard the report. They thought they had car left. Well, here it is. 10 laps to go. They're within 1 second in the 5th position.
Yeah, like they're starting to like crowd up behind Logan now. The car's behind him.
This is why Deshaun thought he had a chance still, eh?
Mitchell DeYoung.
But that 8 car, what's that 8 car and the 17 car gonna do?
This afternoon, his 6th pole of the year. We talk about 2311 Racing. They have more than half of the pole positions in this series.
Leahy's smiling now.
Incredible stuff that they've been able to do. DeYoung fell on the back foot through the latter half of the second run and into this third.
Is Conti going to try and get up there and help Clamp it?
Into the conversation, and here comes
Michael Conti.
Conti will go to the outside of Wilson. He will make a pass.
I don't know, run cover.
Conti won here last year at Texas. He is in the mix to play spoiler.
DeJong looks strong here with 9 to go.
Seems like nobody really wants to take the battle to Clamp it, giving him the space he needs, but he's unable to make any ground, and I think the laps have run out. The patience have run out. The cars behind Clamp it, as we see
Mitchell ain't waiting.
Move into the 4th position.
So DeYoung makes the pass. He's around Wilson. Here. What does he do? And these are teammates now running for 2nd and 3rd. I just don't find any situation.
I think the 8 car saw the 23 car coming,
going to put a move on his teammate
and
roommate, I should say, right? Logan Clampett. He pushed him basically that time.
He did exactly what he did there.
3. But the intervals have started to go in favor of Keegan Leahy. It was as much as 0.6 of a second a lap ago, the difference between those two. So I think the 8 car is going to play blocker. Not only does, the battle for the championship mean the most, but there's a big pay difference in this battle we're watching behind. 2nd place in the title, Steve, gets $25,000.
Oh,
3rd gets $15,000. So those are both good paydays. But if Mitchell DeYoung can get around Logan Clampett or Michael Conti to fight with Logan Clampett, that could be $10,000 on the line between the battle for 2nd and 3rd position.
Maybe Michael Conti has a deal with the 97, his roommate, saying, hey, if I can keep you in 2nd, you could pay rent for a few months.
And it just looks like it's a strategic play by the 8 car to push the 97 however he can. But the lap times do not lie.
He ain't catching him with 5 to go. Unless Keegan messes up.
He ain't catching him because he doesn't have tires left.
I just don't. I think he got to that. There's that gap, and he just got to that point where the dirty air is too much.
Hanging in the balance.
The only car that seems to be really have speed is the 5 car.
Let's see if he tries to make a play for the 8 car.
But he's obviously just riding right now.
You almost think, should you send the 5 car up to go and try and disrupt the lead?
I love to just listen to the throttle work. You see the focus on the left-hand side. I love listening to the work of these drivers.
Can't believe it's caution-free. I didn't expect that.
Even at caution-free, this
looks
race
like
is almost 2 hours
struggling
long,
to get up to Conti. What is going to happen in the final 4 laps of this 2021 championship?
That means it's going to be a 2-hour race tomorrow night.
Leahy is in position to close this.
Is that longer distance than normal?
Wait, no.
Bobby
is it going to be
Zelensky's
167
down in
or is it going to be 134?
Championship 4 cars, top
should be
of your screen.
167.
1, 2, 4, and 12 on track right now. Now 3 laps to go for Leahy.
Looks like Leahy's calmed down a bit on his screen there.
Leahy continues that wide entrance into the corner, which gives him A great drive straight off the bottom. They are stacked up behind Logan Clampett. Michael Conti in the 8 doing all the work he can to push the 97 and hold off
Panicked.
the other 2311 car in 4th. Mitchell DeYoung, that number 23 car.
So, when you look back on this
so
race,
6
it
in
was
the
all
air,
track
2
position
laps to
across
go, 3 miles for Keegan Leahy.
Right, if he would have qualified correctly, he probably would have won it, you think.
Well, he wouldn't have had to race so hard all these, like, early in these runs so often, right?
Back to 4/10
Right, he had to make up all those spots.
And out of Leahy if he wants to be able to get there. DeYoung looking under Conti for 3rd position. Can't make it happen. Penultimate time in 3 and 4.
There's David's favorite word.
Wow. Caution free, unbelievable.
White flag, 1 lap to go. About 0.4 of a second between him and the championship.
And it is clean racetrack. It is his to decide. Leahy comes into this race as one of the top 5 drivers on the all-time wins list.
Coming north,
so
boys.
Close to a championship a couple of years ago, back in 2019.
Well, it's well-deserved. I mean, he had a great run.
Tonight, he seeks redemption. Final time at a turn 4 for the driver
awesome.
out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. Keegan Leahy is the 2021 eNASCAR iRacing champion.
So he drives for.
And finally, Steve, an opportunity for him to let
Jordan.
it all out after being locked in
23-11.
all night long. A congratulatory bump from Logan Clampett there. And they share words on the radio right now.
Bubba wins, and now Keegan wins.
Keegan Leahy has done it. And in the 12th season of eNASCAR
Sure, Denny's really gonna, be proud of that.
He becomes the 9th different champion. This one goes without saying. This winning moment is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of
Clampett did a
eNASCAR.
number on his front of his car.
It's awesome to watch the emotion, the jubilation on the face.
Blow that car up. Blow it up.
So close in past years, but always race clean. Tonight, a complete green flag race, and Keegan Leahy puts on a masterful performance for a championship.
There it is.
And talk about the teams that finished 1, 2, 3. Keegan Leahy for 2311 Racing, formerly Denny Hamlin Racing. You got William Byron Esports in 2nd, Junior Motorsports in 3rd. All of those team owners so involved in the sim. Awesome to see this success, Steve. But I'll give this
so what's
one to you.
300,000 Canadian, Greg?
With your 2021
That's the best thing.
champion,
Was 100,000.
Keegan Leahy.
Keegan, congratulations. We saw the emotion. Very simply.
Yeah, 300 the total purse, right?
I have no idea. It'll take me about a month to process this, I'm sure. Hi, Mom. Hi, Nana. Everyone's watching it. Like, my whole family's watching this, seriously. And I'm sure they're cheering louder. I can probably hear them all the way from Jador.
We want to see his family come in.
Yeah, this is so
it's
$125,000
$125,000
huge
Canadian.
to my organization.
It's 1.25
sure
is the conversion right now.
2311. I don't know where to start. I guess thank you, everybody.
I guess if you get it in American, you get inflation for Canada,
eh? By him about at the 2/3 mark, but Logan Clampett on a green flag race goes from the back to 2nd. He made it difficult.
Which country does he pay the income tax to?
How nervous were you over those last 25 laps?
Oh man, those last 25 college.
I don't know what it would be considered if you won it here.
Very fast.
I guess it'd be considered income, so it just would be on his taxes. But that'd be crazy to pay income tax on $100,000.
So I didn't.
Like what, 40% or something?
No, it'll definitely knock you into a different bracket. That's for sure.
Unless you hide it somehow. I don't know. I don't know how that would work when you're switching American into Canadian and bringing that stuff over.
And luckily, I was able to hold that little gap.
Well, it's been 18 races, so many ups, so many downs, victory lane, pole positions. You have proven time and time again that you're a deserving champion for the sport. So this is your moment. Who do you want to thank? Congratulations. I know it takes a lot of people and partners to make this happen.
Yeah, of course. Thanks so much for the opportunity, too. Virtual Racing Schools on the Hood, Declit, or wherever. I got to thank them for not only allowing me to make this into a career. Like, I'm working for Virtual Racing School full-time, and this is why I'm able to compete at this level. Got to thank them also for their hardware. I can hit this thing as hard as I want.
When
it's
did
not gonna break. So thanks Virtual
Dale
Racing
Jr. announce that there's another
Logitech's
car
not
coming
on the car,
in that
but
interview?
I appreciate them.
Oh,
all the gear they've
for the
given me
87.
over
Okay,
over
I
the
missed
years.
the end of that.
And
yeah, but we already
knew that from the forums.
Especially
Yeah.
Denny Hamlin for believing in me. Hi everybody. I
don't think you said which one, which model. Is it Pontiac or Buick?
I really can't go through every name. I'm sure there's so many, but thank you.
It's an Oldsmobile. Yeah.
Well, Keegan, congratulations to your 2021 eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion.
Oh, let me say this. Whoever's at home, wait for me. I'll be there in 45 minutes.
All right, there you have it. Wait for the man. 45 minutes and he will be there to celebrate. Well, Keegan Leahy went to victory lane as the champion, but Logan Clampett perhaps put on the drive of the night. Logan, I know it's disappointing to come so close, but from nearly last,
he had a good run, and he was probably the fastest car, I would say.
Congratulations on a good year. I know it's bittersweet, but you have to.
It's crazy that he wasn't able to qualify better than that, though.
Yeah, Steve, that was.
You'd think his race set would have been qualified good enough for that.
Second that race after we qualified 31st there. I qualified 31st and my heart sank, and we were up to like 25th by lap 10 or 21st by lap 10. It was just, God, man, it was a fast car, great season. To run up again, second time. I mean, it means a lot more this year for sure, just because of how big the series has grown. But it is definitely bittersweet to come up that short. 5/10. But congrats to Keegan. I know he's put on just phenomenal seasons every single year, so he definitely deserves one. Hopefully, my time will come. But yeah, second is what we'll have to deal with tonight.
Did you see Denny's tweet, Mike?
Just thank you to
23
Nick
Racing.
Ottinger, Michael Conti, Matt.
He's like LFG.
All the Coke drivers there.
I'll count you down, Kyle.
Compare lap times every single week.
I was going to ask if you were in here or not.
Yeah, I'm right in front of you.
Challenge myself.
Well, I meant in TeamSpeak.
Our other guys, Brandon Hastings.
I'll go 1, 2, 3, go.
Jason Brophy, crew chiefs for Matt Boosa, Dustin Hall, crew chiefs for me, and Jason Loafing, spots for me.
Well, I wish it was a different track, but
during the playoffs, Adam Benefield, he spots Michael Conti, and Brandon Wilkinson, he spots Nick Ottinger. We
it
have
kind of I don't know,
This
kind of
13's
whimper
gonna hang
away
back
from
and
the
try to
season.
finish
It was such a
Kinda
good
go
season to have it finish on a track like
to
that.
those dedicated fans, thank you so much. You guys are, what helps our series grow. So, yeah.
I mean, did we see side-by-side racing, really?
Hey,
No.
long year. You've earned it
Really?
in Atlanta.
Yeah, it wasn't a great race for it.
So there it is. You see Michael Conti in the room, a little knuckle bump, and I'm going to tell you what, Evan, it was a great race to watch, a great race to commentate. I appreciate you letting me join you. Congratulations to Logan in second.
I need to thank my sponsors real quick. Hold on. Logitech, thank you so much, guys, for coming on.
That's funny. He's like, wait.
Like Nick last year, but to get second is amazing. Thank you to Sim Seats for coming on board the last few races for our season. I'm in a Sim Seats rig right now. It's
13's got a run on me.
Ever since I switched to it, it's just been.
He got tight.
Now he hit the apron.
Oh, is that what happened?
Did anyone show up besides Will?
William Byron Esports and Jody for all the help and picking me up.
That's pretty
all
funny.
Season long. And thank you to you guys. Thank you to you guys for being in the broadcast booth. I hope you guys really enjoyed commentating this season of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series.
Well, congratulations, Evan, an excited second place finisher. It seems like a smidge of disappointment to be second, but a great way to finish the year. Congratulations, Logan. 3 seconds to end the year. It's an
good race, I guess.
Thank you guys.
He was so good, Logan. Thanks for giving
Deserved
us some
winner.
time, at the end of this year.
I mean, he had track position,
Probably
and
was the best
you know,
car in this race. Won an incredible
he was top 2 all night.
In second. So for the last time in
Yeah,
2021,
whole race.
let's take a look.
This is a good idea to do the stream, though. It was fun.
And Logan lost it on qualifying, probably.
Pretty much, yeah. It's some of the things we talk about when we're racing, right? You gotta make sure you qualify.
The 32 finally saw an opening, took it.
Well, if you're going to be a winner, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's not always smart to start in the back.
So he made a move. That's that high entry we saw in the closing laps, was allow him to get a good run off the bottom of the corner, uses that run, that
so this is the only side-by-side battle you saw, but it just let each other go, right?
Well, they're teammates, yeah.
Just a pass more than side-by racing.
Yeah, true. They weren't even racing, they were just passing each other.
Right.
And it was all said and done. A caution-free
Who didn't make it into the Coke Series?
First ever time the championship has been determined here in Fort Worth. Let's take a look at your Coca-Cola full race results.
So the top 4 were 3 different teams, eh? Or 4 different teams.
5. Leahy, Clampett, and DeYoung, the top 3 in the title fight. Conti and Wilson, though, were right in the mix as well in this one.
Yeah, you see Bolin, Luza, Duvall round out.
Come down when you can.
10. Bobby Zielinski back there in 12th. That was the 4th championship contender. He just never seemed to have the pace. Tried some alternate strategy, ran a little bit along, but in the end, never had a caution that would help him. He came home in the 12th position.
And continuing on down through ahead of the likes of Nichols at the midway point in this race. Guys who had good
so you get the run, I'm not going to fight you, so.
Salas was a top 10 car.
All right.
We saw
I'll let you go here, actually.
Like Michael Guest and Bob Bryant have good starts, just really not get the result that they wanted in the end. And unfortunately, at the very bottom there, Nathan Lyon, 40 laps down, Steve, but didn't technically go to the garage. So all 40 cars who started this race, or at least in one piece at the end of the night, all 39 of them ahead.
Boy, Afala made it. Garrett Maines made it.
Very impressive. 31 on the lead lap, so it was unbelievable.
Jake Nichols didn't. Garrett Lowe didn't.
Within the race, who would make it? Who would be relegated?
4 points.
Garrett Maines gets the final
position in
the 20th spot. Jake Nichols, unfortunately, the first driver
out. Kyle, tell everybody my thing just shut off. I don't know what happened.
It's big for guys like Alfala. They don't need to make their way back in, so past series champion
literally.
Alfala stays in. Novak stays in.
Like your wheel and all?
Stay in.
No, it's AMD bug report just popped up.
On their resume, back here again, fighting in 2022. And for the drivers below that top 20 cut line, well, they're going to have to fight in the offseason through the eNASCAR.
And he's had a crappy year, too.
Contender iRacing series.
Oh, well, at least he can go back. It's one less thing to worry about in the offseason, though, right?
40 guys in this series, as you mentioned, all of these names right here.
Both him and Vicente made it, huh?
And they'll be fighting against the top 20, of course, from the
not bad for rookies, you know, to make it to the top 20.
Racing series, I should say, in that contender series. That's going to be a fun bit of.
I'm sure Elliott Esports is happy with that.
As our 2021 season comes to a close, we want to say, thanks to everybody who's been a part of this, Steve. And I'll say first, thanks so much for you for joining us.
See if he'll come on
these races with us.
One more time.
So fun to call these races with you, to get the input from guys like you and Parker, and a big thanks to everybody else who's been in the booth this year, from Tim to Blake and everybody else on pit road that has helped us out and race for a lot of big money on this sim, right? I mean, you're invested in this as a team owner. I appreciate you giving us the time and joining us, and want to get your final thoughts on how this 2021 season comes to a close.
Well, first of all, it's an amazing series. It's an amazing platform that iRacing has.
All right, that's it, guys. I'm out.
All around the globe, and I think that's really what it is. I
might race later tonight, but I'm gonna get up for a bit.
Teams, and now I'm in the broadcast booth, and I get.
That was a good idea by Will Gibson to do this.
Over the next few
yeah, thanks for still listening.
Coca-Cola series has
come by anytime, Will.
Opportunity for everyone to experience racing, right? This is what it's like. You don't have to have a fancy race.
Kyle, did I catch anybody up in that?
No, you went straight to the inside wall.
Good, that's what I wanted to do as soon as it did it.
I, much like Dale Jr., love those street stocks because
oh no, I look back and you were ping-ponging off the inside wall.
I will tell you, they are the best of the best.
I guess I'll have to look at this before tomorrow.
Half a second was the difference in the championship. I had so much
look, buddy.